tasks are actually, the more and more that I read that book, it's very, very similar to the kind of stack that we end up building at ScaleArc. And it's a very, very high performance stack. We've got to be very cautious about how we write the software and how we go ahead and sort of ship it to customers and how optimized it is, because when you have to sit in front of guys like Dell.com, we're in front of the entire Dell.com. You do anything on Dell.com, you do a single purchase on Dell.com, you browse a product on Dell.com, it goes through our systems. And when you have to build something that will be trusted by Dell to do things such as Black Friday, which is like a $1.3 billion in sales in one day, you have to be able to build a highly resilient system, and you have to build a system that performs well. And to find that kind of people here especially is very, very hard. And as a result of that, like if you look at it, one of the stats that we were looking at is that on an average we interview about 2 people every day. And last year, in the whole of the year, we might have hired 11, maybe 12 people. So you can imagine how horrible a ratio that is.
So you interview about, say about 500 people a year, and you hire 10 out of them.
Yeah, there might be some slack and some
give and take, but
so
say about only 10 out of the 500 you end up hiring.
Only 11, 12, yeah. So it's a pretty bad ratio from that standpoint. And the reason why that is because quite a lot of people don't qualify for quite a lot of the stuff that we need. And on top of that, one of the issues that tends to happen all the time is because, and by the way, so there's also one flip side to it, which is whatever people that we've hired, they've been with us and they don't go anywhere else. So we've got our first set of engineers that we hired 5 years ago, and they're still with the company.
Is it because the job is very exciting? Is it because you pay them a lot, or you incentivize them in different ways?
You can't pay people enough to stick around nowadays. I mean, you all know the rate at which salaries are going up and everything else. You can't pay people enough to stick around. You've got to have exciting work. And if you ask any of the engineers at ScaleArc, the one thing that they'll tell you is the kind of work that they've done here, they couldn't possibly have done it any other company, including companies like Google in India. You just couldn't, because if you go to a Google, if you go to a Facebook, if you go to any of these companies, what happens is you've got an entire framework built for you, and you have to work within that framework. And there's no chance to innovate something from the ground up. There's no chance to go ahead and build something that is truly unique. And those frameworks have been built by somebody in the US, so at the end of the day, what you're working in is essentially a branch office. Our engineering team is here, our kernel is here, and our team leads are here. The guys who built the product are here. The guys whose names are on the patents for ScaleArc are here. So you're working with the team that actually created this product, which is now being used by like Walmart Labs and Dell and everything else, and built it out of here. So from that standpoint, the kind of work that they're doing and the kind of challenges that they're solving, they really aren't the kind of challenges that have been solved in India traditionally. They've always been a design approach that somebody in a US office is handed over and you're implementing a small module out of it. It's not the entire project. It's not basically the life and blood of the company. It's not what you're making revenue out of on a day-to-day basis. And the one bug that you create could go ahead and cost us a customer, and the one feature that you create which is done right could go ahead and win us a customer. So from that standpoint, the involvement that they have in the product and the way that they understand some of the things that we do, that's what keeps them excited, that's what keeps them engaged, and that's what keeps them involved to the extent that they're involved.
Well, I'm sure you would have some, because if they're so talented and then they're working on such high tech, then they must be poached as well by the likes of Google and Amazon and so on.
Yeah.
So how do you have any particular approach for incentivizing them as well? Or?
So one of the things that we decided pretty much from the ground up was that no matter where in the world we hire employees, our stock options compensations are going to be identical. So a senior engineer in the US and a senior engineer in India is getting the same amount of stock. They're not getting a different amount of stock. So as a result of that, like if you were to do a standard top 10 people who own equity in the company, in our case the top 10 people who own equity in the company, after me and the CEO, the top 6 in that list are in India. And they're all engineers.
And they all know about it, the whole company knows about it as well.
Yeah, everybody knows about it. And there's people that we've hired who are VPs, there are people that we've hired who are at the highest level in the company, some of them who are leading these engineers right now. But these engineers have more equity than their leaders. So from that standpoint, it's about being fair and it's about rewarding those that do good work with an equal amount of shares.
So you've been slow, very extremely cautious in recruiting and in talent acquisition, but that strategy has paid off.
It has.
That's something I would recommend, that don't rush into people and then let them learn on the job. You take your time and try to find the gem or the diamond.
Yeah. And it's not like they don't learn on the job, but what I'm trying to say here is that if we hired somebody who didn't even know the basics of what we were talking about, the amount of time that they'll spend learning on the job would be far greater than the amount of time that even the smartest guys have to do anyways. Because the point is, like I said, I mean, this is not stuff that is typically done in India a lot. So as a result of that, there's still a fair amount of learning that you have to do when you join ScaleArc. But that learning can be minimized and you can be productive much quicker if you are at that level.
Something like the guy really knows how to swim, but then when he comes to ScaleArc, he learns a new...
We'll teach him how to do backflips and still go at the rate of an Olympic swimmer. Yes. Yeah.
But not a novice who is still learning to swim.
Yeah.
So now, let's go to, moving from that you founded this company, you're very picky about the talent that you acquired. Tell us something more about your customers. And my question is that, just name a few of you already said, for example, Dell was a customer. So how do you keep them happy? And what is your strategy? I'm once again putting two questions here. How do you keep the existing customers happy? And the second question is that, are you going more for a harvesting kind of approach, that let's try to make more and more from the same customer, or a hunting kind of approach that let's add more X number of customers every quarter or every year?
Sure. So one sort of leads into the other very well. So let me just begin with that. So if you keep a customer happy, harvesting will happen automatically. As long as your customers are happy, they will buy more. It's as simple as that. So that's the primary goal always. You have to keep a customer happy. And if you keep a customer happy, they will naturally go ahead and use more and more of your product. And it's something as simple as this. How do you keep a customer happy? You keep a customer happy by delivering a product that meets their need, and delivering a product that actually allows them to, and again, this is the most cliched thing in the world to say, allows them to have a better lifestyle. That's the only way to go ahead and do it. And what does it mean when you say allows them to have a better lifestyle? And the example of somebody like a Dell.com is that it allows them to perform maintenance on their database stack in the middle of the day at 2 p.m. in the day rather than at 2 a.m. in the night on Saturday. That allows them to have a better lifestyle. It allows the DBA that's sitting at one of the mobile security companies, Lookout, which I'm sure quite a lot of you use on your Android phones and everything. It allows them to be able to go ahead and find a query which is troubling them in 5 seconds versus 5 hours. And that DBA can then be more productive and can do more in one day than they were able to do earlier. And that's about meeting their needs. The second is being receptive to change and being receptive to problems and being able to solve those problems as soon as they happen. There's no such thing as a perfect software. There's no such thing as a bug-free software. Even the software that is written for the NASA space shuttle has bugs. Even though that software is very few lines of code, which I reviewed very, very heavily, everything has bugs. And when there are bugs, how do you deal with it? How do you solve those problems? How receptive are you to your customers' needs? How quickly do you turn it around? And that's what will let that customer know if you're vested in serving their need after they've bought your stack. And if they feel that you are vested in helping them throughout that, and you're not just interested in the first sale, they will automatically reward you with more. And as a result of that, you can sort of keep that that cycle going. And then comes goodwill. I mean, once you've built that goodwill, it actually allows you to then